Welcome to this episode of our video podcast series under the theme Explore All the Options, an initiative that encourages Australians to consider every possible study, training and career opportunity available to them and how vocational education and training can contribute to the success. In today's episode, we're talking about life-changing career decisions, those moments where people take up a new challenge, particularly later in life. Whether it's stepping into a completely different industry, taking up a mature age apprenticeship, or making a shift from the city to the country or vice versa, these stories can be both inspiring and practical. We're joined by three individuals who've made bold career transitions, as well as an industry expert who will shed light on how employers and industries are embracing mature age career changes, what the opportunities are, and how we can support this growing shift. So in this episode, we will speak to Carpentry Apprentice Sam Eyre, Butcher Apprentice Jodi Nolte, Cultural Facilitator Taylor Hampton, and we'll also be talking to industry expert Blake Wallace from MEGT. So Blake, we often hear, and I think a lot of people often assume, that once you've chosen a career, that's kind of it. Is that the case? Can people still make career changes down the track?
Yeah, look, absolutely. And I think that it's really great to be with you and to obviously discuss this. It's something that we see quite often, people changing careers. In fact, we know that recent research in Queensland, an average person does actually change their job 2 or 3 times and can have up to between 3 and 7 different careers in their lifetime.
Are employers really open to hiring mature age apprentices, trainees, or just career changes in general?
Yeah, absolutely. There's certain industries, I think, that are probably more attractive for employers that are seeking a mature-aged apprentice. And I guess one of the things that we've seen in more recent times is we're seeing a lot more people that are taking up an apprenticeship or a traineeship over the age of 25, which is considered mature age. There was some data that we looked at recently where out of the approximately 1.5 million Australians that we have put into an apprenticeship or a traineeship, 40% of them are actually 25 or older.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are there any particular industries who are employing these people?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the main sort of shortage at the moment is technicians and tradies, of course, and that's really where the focus is. So we're really trying to obviously promote the trade pathways to all, regardless of age, but also healthcare, IT, engineering, childcare and logistics are also industries that are actively seeking to employ trainees and apprentices regardless of their age.
Wow. So perhaps we'll start with Sam's experience. What was it that you used to work in before and how did you come to be where you are today?
I probably spent the best part of 20 years in various media and communications roles. And probably for the past 9 years, I'd been working with my wife in doing admin mostly. And just got to the point where I just didn't want to be in an office anymore. And I've always had an interest in building and carpentry. I loved woodwork at school. And I just thought, well, if I'm going to do this, it's kind of now or never. So I had a big discussion with my wife and my family and said, look, this is what I think I want to do. And they were very supportive and said, look, yeah, let's do it, make it happen.
Did you have any fears or was there anything that you sort of was a bit concerned about when you thought about changing your career?
There's obviously a bit of a change in my daily routine, much earlier starts now, but also slightly earlier finishes. So we just had to work around the logistics of that with 3 kids and so on. And the pay, obviously I was going to have to take a pretty significant pay cut to do this. But we just thought, well, if we can absorb that throughout the duration of the apprenticeship and get through it, I think, we'll be okay beyond that. So they were the main 2 factors, pay and also just day-to-day logistics with the family.
Has there been anything about returning to study itself and doing training? Is that something that you were a bit apprehensive about?
No, not really. To be honest, I thought I was probably better prepared for study now than I was in my teens and early 20s, to be honest. And I go to trade school now with all my 18-year-old mates, and it's good. I really like it. I'm actually probably more the nerdy student that sits at the front and sticks his hands up and wants to answer as many questions as he can, whereas I definitely wasn't like that in the past. So I'm kind of embracing the whole study side of things. It's great.
How about you, Jodi? What's sort of been your experience with changing careers? What did you used to do? And can you tell us a bit about your apprenticeship now?
Sure. So at the age of, I'm 42 years old and I'm proud. At the age of 17, I did my commercial cookery certificate. So I've been a grill cook for several years. And then butchery was something that it looks cool. I watch the guys do it, and I want to be one of the guys. I want to get in there and just get involved and do that type of work. You know, I've been around meat and all that for a long time now, but that's something that I definitely want to do.
So did you ever have any sort of fears, or you think, oh, I am a bit of an age and a stage in life where perhaps this might not be possible?
I believe that it's only a number. I am very capable at 42 than any 20-year-old. I think it's all in your mind. If you can do it, you can do it, and I know that I can do it. So if I don't put myself out there, we'll never know.
Has there been anyone who sort of tried to talk you out of it or weren't really supportive, whether that was sort of employers or trainers or any of your friends and family?
No, everyone has been super supportive. Probably one of my biggest supporters would be my 21-year-old daughter, who is nearly finished her welding apprenticeship. So, you know, being a female and doing a trade like that, like, I'm proud of her, and she's giving me back the support that I've given her. So for that, like, yeah, I'm pretty pumped.
Taylor, how about you? What's been your career experience? How did you got to where you are today?
I pretty much, my career really started, 10 years ago, really. But before that, I was living back in my hometown in West Wyalong, working on the council. You know, like my dad, I thought for myself, I thought I'd be on the council with my dad for, you know, like him and like a couple of my other brothers as well. But my passion was working with young people. I used to be a sports coach. I did a teacher's aide traineeship while I was as I was finished year 12 and studying in Albury and living in Wagga. And, you know, we just decided that we wanted to move to Albury and then, you know, I jumped in and studied a dual qual in Cert 4 in youth work and community services. I think that's really where my career really started. So I didn't really do, my journey really started about 10 years ago now. And then after my Cert 4, I did that diploma in youth work and started working in, mainly Aboriginal organisations, some mainstream organisations as well, but really just supporting, young people, families through some really tough situations, whether it was through justice, homelessness or, out-of-home care as well. I think for me at that time, I think it was really meaningful work, but I think that, I started to feel like there was, I think just some things I needed to patch up to the damage. I think that's what it was like for me at the time when I was doing that kind of case management. And then when I found, leadership at VAC, or where I'm working now, I think I feel like I've stepped in a space where it's more about that, the healing and education. My role at VAC is as a cultural facilitator. I think it's a position where I'm able to lead, where I'm able to make that change, and delivering cultural awareness training and other cultural programs and packages for VACA to focus on embedding culture in everything that they do. And on top of that, I also run a small little business going into childcare centres, delivering cultural workshops, very small, simplified, generalised information all around storytelling, singing, dancing, a lot of fun, engaging pieces of information for kids to be able to grab onto. And then also on top of that, my wife and I have recently written and published 2 children's books, Now Mob and Now Dance, all around celebrating identity and family and connection to country, and I suppose in ways that kids can really just gravitate towards and relate to as well. So through all that, it's all around. I guess for me, it's around what my study position has been able to give me, and the opportunity it's been able to give me. I don't think I'd be able to be where I am without my study. So
Taylor, were you feeling apprehensive, or are you worried about going back to study or going to further training at all?
Yeah, I think, absolutely. One of my, I suppose my experience with studying, I suppose for me going to school, it probably goes back to me going back to school. I wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed, I don't think, and I don't think that was for. I just don't think I just tried hard enough. I don't think I wasn't. It's not that I wasn't smart enough, but I just didn't apply. Apply myself in school that I as much as I thought I should have. I just kind of just coasted my way through school and. Got my year 12 certificate, and that was really pretty much it. And then, when I moved away back in 2014 to start studying again, it was studying full time, going a few days a week, and then also, working as well to get my youth work, community services qual, and also my diploma as well. So I did that study full time for 2 years. And then when this opportunity came to do the leadership management course through VACA, as a partnership through VACA and Kangan Institute, they offered me a spot, and I was pretty reluctant in taking that on because I was really worried that working full time, having a family, and also studying was going to be a huge barrier. But what I found was the support through the Kangan mob and VACA was that it was, it wasn't a full-time study commitment. It was, studying, going to class once a fortnight. One was face-to-face, one was online. I had someone else that was in the course with me that was lived in Ovens and Murray with me in Wodonga. So, we travelled down to Broadmeadows once a month. And so I think that really, sparked my, my passion for education again, and to continue that, I suppose the need for education. I think, as Sam was saying, there was a lot of us that were quite in the mature age bracket as well. So being able to be with like-minded people, that kind of also made it a lot easier to study, and we all had the same, I suppose, the same impact and what we wanted to get out of this course as well. So that really made it a lot easier for me to continue that studying.
Like, I think. Do a lot of people have questions or concerns around the load, the study load, the work, the pay, that kind of thing? And how do you guys help them or support them to do that?
Absolutely. It's quite common. It's usually one of the, I guess, top 3 things that we receive as queries from job seekers that are looking to become an apprentice or a trainee. Look, I think there's a few different things there. With an apprenticeship or a traineeship, the most important thing is it's the opportunity for people to earn while they learn. And if you were to look at a university pathway, of course, that's obviously very different, in terms of racking up a HECSTET and all those sorts of things. So, it's certainly attractive under the earning and learning type model. And the way that I guess we support them is that there's a range of Commonwealth government incentives that are available to apprentices and trainees that are in a priority occupation. And that actually really helps them offset the cost of their training. It assists with, it's an incentive, so they can use it, for whatever they need. And it's a fantastic way to ensure that they're being supported with those financial incentives throughout their program.
Jodi, for you, has there been much surprising or rewarding things that's made all this hard work worth it?
It's definitely worth it. I'm at the stage in my life where my kids are a lot older, so I don't have to juggle daycare or school as much. I've got really supportive husband. It's just every day I step into work, it's just an extra day that I get to learn something new. And it's that alone is rewarding for me to think that, at my age that I can still absorb all this information and I'm progressing into, I'm going to be a great butcher. So yeah, it's pretty good.
How about you, Sam? What have you found particularly rewarding about your career change so far?
Oh, I agree with Jodi. What Jodi just said. I go to work every day and I'm learning new stuff every day and learning how to do stuff that I always wanted to know how to do properly rather than trying to teach myself. So I don't find getting up early and going to work a drag at all. I really look forward to each day, learning new stuff. I really enjoy working with the guys I work with as well.
How did you choose your qualification and training, and perhaps even just the career path in general? How did you narrow down onto carpentry?
I've got a lot of mates who are in building, so I spoke to as many of them as I could just to try and get a grasp on the realities of the job, what's actually involved, what it's actually going to be like. One of those guys put me in touch with a carpenter because I said to him, I think carpentry is what I'm interested in. And I went out and did a day with them, and they called me back about 3 weeks later and said, well, look, we're looking for apprentices. Would you be interested in doing an apprenticeship? I said, absolutely. And that was 12 months ago. And I haven't stopped since. I've just been flat out. So there's plenty of work, and I really enjoy it.
How about you, Jodi? How did you go about finding what qualifications you needed and that kind of thing?
I've been working as a butcher hand for a while now at the same place that I'm now doing my apprenticeship. And I think that's probably what pushed me into it, is that what I was doing, I felt wasn't enough for me and I wanted more of a challenge. So it's sort of, I was asking for it for a while, and my boss is like, you want to do it? That's it. You've got it. So that's how I became an apprentice.
And Taylor, how have you been able to get the qualifications or enroll in the qualifications that you've just decided to pursue? What's motivated those choices?
Yeah, look, I think my passion for leadership, I think really working in community, it's always something that I've wanted to do, and I think one of the biggest things that really led me towards leadership was I just started in a bit of a team leader role acting. When I first started at Vaca, and one of my managers actually said to me, she's asked me a question, where do you see yourself in 10 years time? And it's not something that I really thought about too much, but I said, I think, the next 5 to 10 years, I'd love to be in some sort of manager's position, because I love supporting people and being in a space where I can, make real change or make a real impact, not just to my organisation, but to the staff that I support. And, she said to me that she's like, it's not going to take 5 years, Taylor. That's ridiculous. And she was right. It took 4 years before I was actually into my first, program manager role. And I think, starting from that space, it really got me into the need to get into leadership. And, my courses and qualifications that I've been able to attain have led the way into that space. And especially with my, my recent qualification, it's been something that I've, been able to use almost immediately in my current work as well. So, I've always wanted to, be in leadership and, be in that space where I can support, my staff, my community, my organisation is something I've always really wanted to do. So,
Blake, is there any better way that we can communicate about how changing careers is not actually possible, but it's actually beneficial for the career changes themselves as well as for employers?
Look, absolutely there is. I think one of the best ways to do that is actually through hearing the likes of Jodi, Sam, Taylor, and their stories. We do need to really, I guess, share the success of people of, mature age going into apprenticeships. We're seeing so much more of it now. And I think we really need to share their stories as much as we can. And there's various platforms where that's currently happening, and that's great. But I think we need to continue to do that and do it well.
How can an organisation like yours help people come up with their career choices, decisions, and help them explore their options?
Absolutely. I guess one of the things I was just reflecting then, actually, Cara, to the question you asked earlier around how they actually chose their career and started their apprenticeship. And one of the things that we do at MEGT, and we're really proud of it, is we do what's called a get ready check for all apprentices that are starting an apprenticeship. And the whole purpose of that is to determine their capability, their commitment, but also to ensure that we apply the adequate supports to the apprentices throughout their journey and mentoring. So yeah, absolutely, we can assist with. We do a lot of work with schools, so we help with people at a younger age in terms of understanding what careers are available. But we also work with many job seekers of all ages right across Australia in making them aware of the benefits of vocational education and training. So as opposed to, I guess, that university pathway, that's what we're all about.
So, Sam, is there any advice that you've given people already, or you would like to give anybody who is looking at making a career change, possibly going back to becoming a mature age apprentice, that you'd like to pass on?
I just think do your due diligence. research what you're interested in thoroughly, speak to as many people as you can, look at what study might be required down the track or to get into it, and just get as much awareness about the job before you start it, just so you understand the realities of what's actually going to be required, because you wouldn't want to put in all the work to make the switch and then find out, oh, hang on, this isn't exactly what I was after. So do your research. That's my advice.
How about you, Jodi? Is there something that you like to tell other people when you're saying you should do it too?
Look, I totally agree with Sam, but I also want to say, like, life's too short. Like, if you are thinking about changing your career and it's something that you really, really want to do and you can do it, like, you need to make sure that you, again, like what Sam said, research, find out the ins and outs of everything, financially, if you can do it. But if you've ticked all the boxes, jump into it, do it, because, again, life is too short. You don't know what's around the corner. And, yeah, it's the best thing I've done.
And how about you, Taylor? Is there something that you'd like to tell people if they're a bit stuck and not sure where to go?
Yeah, look, I agree with both Sam and Jodi there. But I also, I think some things that I've always said is, don't wait until you got all figured it out. You start somewhere. A small step in a direction can lead to something bigger than you expected. I think I'm evident of that. Something I never really thought I'd be in this space in a million years. But also say, reach out to people, ask questions, yarn with someone who's walked a similar path as well. There's no shame in not knowing what's next. I think most of us have been there as well. And I think if you've got a fire in your belly, follow that. Whether it's working in your community, learning about culture, doing something completely different, your journey matters. You've just got to be able to back yourself and believe that change is possible, because it is. So, yeah.
Taylor, what are you most excited about your next step or this step in your career?
I am just most excited about being able to connect with people, continue to connect with people. I think that's something that I've been able to do in my work. I think being able to be in a space where I'm able to be real and relatable to a lot of my people at VACA and in the broader community as well. I'm always someone that speaks from the heart. So I think that, the space that I'm about to walk into is something that's going to be really strong and powerful within my organisation, and being able to support a space where culture is embedded in everything that we do at our organisation is something that I'm really excited about and cannot wait to see what the future holds for this space.
Jodi, what are you most excited about?
I'm enjoying the training side of things. I'm also really looking forward to being 45 and being a fully qualified butcher. I think that's something to be pretty proud of. So, yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to.
And Sam, how about you? What are you looking forward to? What are you excited about this stage of your career?
Just learning and trying to get better at what I'm doing. And my goal is to try and be a fully qualified carpenter before I'm 50. So pressure's on.
That's awesome.
I just want to say also, and I've found this a lot from what I've done so far, is a lot of the apprentices are really young, and like really young, by young I mean under 20, some of them. And I don't think age is necessarily a deterrent, particularly in my field. I think I know my employers like the idea of having someone older, just with a bit more worldly, a bit more life experience, hopefully a bit more common sense as well. And I think that definitely works in your favour if you're a mature age apprentice.
If I can jump in there, just off the back of what Sam just mentioned, a recent apprentice that we've been working with, her name's Sally. She was an architect, gone through uni. She was working as an architect in urban planning, and she decided to have a career change, and she's now an apprentice carpenter. And the incredible amount of, I guess, perspective that she's actually brought the carpentry business because she's been an architect and she's worked in that urban planning side of things. The employer is just overwhelmed by what has been such a fantastic decision in taking Sally on in her apprenticeship in carpentry. So it just goes to show, as you're saying there, Sam, age is not a barrier. And in many ways, employers are actually embracing people that are mature aged. Following on from, I guess, what Jodi was mentioning earlier, if there's someone out there that actually really wants to give an apprenticeship a go and they're of a mature age, just do it. Give us a call, reach out to us. We're more than happy to help. And one thing that I think that is really important as well to mention is that we provide mentoring to employers and apprentices throughout the full life cycle of their apprenticeship. And, that can be from work issues, personal issues, financial issues, regardless. We're finding that when we do provide mentoring, it really does help with retention and completion rates. So that's certainly something that we're committed to do and make sure that we can mentor all apprentices, trainees and employers along their journey.
A huge thank you to our guests for their motivating and honest stories.
Thanks very much, Cara.
Thanks, Cara.
Thanks, Cara, for having us.
Cheers.
As we've heard today, changing careers isn't always easy, but it's often worth it, and it's never too late to explore all the options. For more information, guidance, and real-life stories, visit the National Skills Week website. That's where you'll find the inspiration and the tools to make your next move, whatever your age and whatever your background. Thanks for joining us.